We're so glad that we have you here tonight, and we hope that you're going to, we'll connect with you, and that we're going to share some things that are kind of personal, actually, and relevant to what everybody's going through right now. Mark and I have just finished dealing with, we're still moving out, but we finished with COVID.
Whoa.
It's been a long month and a half for me.
Yeah, what a ride.
We've had all sorts of follow-up symptoms and interesting things we've had to deal with. And it's been a ride. It's been a ride. We came back from convention and then had a few days and had some fun. And then just shortly after that, we were going to go on and have a wonderful talk about all the cool things from convention. And instead, I got what I thought was a cold, and it just kept going and going. And finally, I got it tested, and it was something a little bit more. And we've been dealing with a little bit more and a lot more since then. So we're glad to be here. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be
Me too.
up and around and alive. And by dealing and talking with a lot of experts and a lot of people who have gone through a number of things that are difficult for the immune system, we wanted to talk to you especially. And as soon as we're just finished on this part, which is our Facebook Live, then we'll move over to our Zoom class and we'll ask some more extensive questions there. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited that you're here. And I'm excited that we have this chance to talk with each other. So there are a lot of questions with COVID, and we have our own questions, and we now have more questions than we had before we started.
But we have some answers.
But we have some answers. And so what we're going to focus on is things that we did, and you'll notice we're still coughing, which is interesting.
Yeah.
There's my cough. So we both have a little cough that we're still not sharing, but dealing.
Not over the airwaves here.
Yeah, and it's not where we've had post tests and we're way past being any contagiousness. But we just wanted to share some of the things that we did during, and then some of the things that we did that we've been doing following. So it's really interesting. As I talk to experts in the medical field and in specifically those who have gone through a number of these things, one of the things that they said is, keep your immune system up. Do what you can to strengthen that immune system, because it seems to attack just anywhere where you're weak. That's where it seems to attack. And I know most of the people have lung problems. I do, heart, liver, kidney, anything with the circulatory system. And then of course the brain, let's not forget brain fog and all the things that happen with that. And Mark's just sitting here, but man, he dealt with it too, and he dealt with it 10.
It was I had all the symptoms, all the challenges, and we were literally just almost bedbound for a whole week.
I was bedbound.
Yeah, for almost 2 weeks. With nausea and loss of smell and taste and coughing and just all that stuff. But to Cynthia's point, the most bizarre thing for me in the whole experience was the brain fog. It was like being in another dimension. It was so very strange, so very strange.
So when you say it was strange, what did you feel like?
Well, it was like I was not part of this reality. It was like being removed, and there was actually a lot of paranoia involved with it. Things that were just like simple little things would be terrifying. It was very, very interesting.
That is interesting. For me, it was really just not being able to organize anything, and if people asked me questions, I wouldn't know how to answer. And I've dealt with some of the kind of the anxiousness since then, like lately, the last little while, and it's messed with my sleep, and it's very interesting. But I found for me, there were some things that I could do during that I had heard that can be beneficial. And one of them was that really helped me calm down and also keep my brain functioning better was adaptive.
Yeah.
And one of the things about adaptive that I love is it helps with your neurological system too. So that, and it has copaiba in it, so I didn't have to worry or think about, oh, I've got to do something with copaiba, because by the time we go through all of our arsenal here, you'll be shocked at how many things we use and how many things we're still using to help. But I have to do this. I have to use it every single day. And I'm talking about once, twice a day. I'm going to put it on right now. I've been putting it on my wrists. And then I've been putting it next to right here, where it can go in easily on my temples. And then sometimes I'll put it on the occipital triangles of the back of my neck, because I'm trying to uptake it. I'm trying to get it into that amygdala region so that it can temperate, to make more temperate the situation that I'm dealing with. So that's
And
what
that
I've
was
been
one that I
doing.
used, especially during the brain fog
Yeah.
part.
And Mark's out of it a lot more than I am. I mean, into it or whatever. I mean, he's dealing with a lot less brain fog issue
Yeah.
than actually I did. At first, he was a lot worse, and now he's a lot better. So it's
But
really
it's really helped. And the same thing I put on my forehead, my temples and the occipital, and that seemed to really kind of just calm things down and
yeah.
bring things more into perspective.
I think we both noticed that. Yeah. So that was super important for both of us during that time. And then at all the time, we had diffusers going with breathe. Can't breathe.
Yeah, breathe.
Sorry, I can't read. Breathe. We also had On Guard going in that one. So I had breathe and On Guard going. And then we also stuck, well, actually, we did breathe with cardamom. And cardamom has some really, really great effects to help soothe and calm and open the airways to the lungs, which I learned from one of my doctors that I talked to. Teledoctors are great. So she said that that's been effective for some children that deal with, constricted airways. And so you can use it kind of like in between inhaler bursts. And I was using inhaler as well, so that I could keep my breathing functional.
So yeah, cardamom was really, especially during the worst part of our cough and our breathing, respiratory symptoms. That was a really great one, and I actually even just put it on my chest.
Yeah, and I
during
just
the
stick it
worst.
right here, right here.
Yeah.
And then another one that we use that we don't have here is eucalyptus.
Oh,
We
yeah.
would take baths and we'd stick magnesium or Epsom salts, which it is, and then put eucalyptus in there, and then some kind of a calming oil. Sometimes I would use Serenity, and Mark would probably choose frankincense,
Mhm.
but some kind of a calming oil to just help the body kind of like think about not dealing with inflammation in really huge ways, but just calming the body down completely. So really great things that we did. And so that we've got tons that we're going to go through to talk about, because some of them we're still using frequently, very frequently, and some of them we're using a little less. So what other ones did you use while we were in the middle of this that you found were really important?
I was in a lot of pain for the first week or two, and so I used copaiba.
Mm-hmm. So copaiba, just
so yeah, there's copaiba, and I used when I had a lot of congestions, Tri-Ease was a really good one for me.
Oh yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Tri-Ease was
So
Tri-Ease is
I
excellent.
used those two pretty heavily.
Excuse me.
And diffusing, as Cynthia said, we diffused a lot. We had diffusers right next to our right next to our beds, and we had Breathe and On Guard and drawing a blank. Cardamom going almost constantly. So.
And then you'll find that this new thing that did come out at convention was kind of like my stabilizer for dealing with the discomfort that I was experiencing. For some reason, and I don't know why, but for some reason my hips were just incredibly sore. And so I was trying to figure out what I could do to help that out. And And that was the one I grabbed. I grabbed that, and I grabbed just regular deep blue. And then I had to be really careful about what I intook because I was dealing with a lot of nausea. So I had to do mostly topical and some things internal, like yeah, but a lot of things topically and also just aromatically. So so that was extremely important for me, was dealing with that one. Let's see, which one should we go to next? Digestin. I didn't use Digestin caps. Well, at that point, and I don't think Mark did
didn't,
either, but
no.
we both used, I used Digestin. I was rolling it on all the time. And that was extremely helpful for us. For
Well, I
me.
was using Digestin, the tabs. Those really helped me. My stomach was so upset that really helped to kind of calm
Oh
things
yeah,
down.
oh
so.
yeah. I used that a lot just to basically be able to eat, besides having some medication I had to take. So, and this is frankincense that Mark was using a lot. I used this a lot, actually, putting it on me topically. That really, really helped me. So already, how many have we got? I'm just gonna show you the bottles of things that we did. And you're gonna like, wow, how did you know what to do? Well, after 8 years of studying all these things and understanding what they can do for the body, you start to say, oh, I can do that. Oh, I can do that. One thing that I was really appreciative of is some Instagrams that I listened to, and I'll follow up and give you the link to that on my all cupboard. But there were some really important ones that made a huge, huge difference for me. And one of them was the adaptive Copaiba, huge, huge. We talked about losing our sense of taste. Both of us have our sense of taste back.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things they said that was neurological. And so we're like, okay, what can we do for any kind of things that might need neurological support? So we really focus on that. And one of them was the adaptive that we stuck on every single day. And I still do every single day. So, I had about 2 days where I had lost my sense of taste, and that was it. And I had one day where they were kind of off. But since then, I've had full use of my sense of taste, which is awesome because of all the other things that were not working quite so well. It was nice to have that one. That really was. So we still dealt with a lot of stuff, and we took other kinds of supplements too that were really beneficial. We had read that zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, turmeric, and those were kind of our mainstays that we had heard about that could be very beneficial with the things that we read. And so we made sure that we did take those as soon as we could. We took vitamins and are, trying to get our systems back up again and helping our bodies so that it can deal with that. And Mark's going to talk about some of his post things that he did. And I'm going to talk about one of mine that came up. So, one of the big deals that you have is this congestive issue down in the bottoms of your lungs. And so I really, really, really was concerned that because I was dealing with it kind of severely. Fortunately, neither of us needed to be hospitalized. I was the closest one to that, but neither one of us had to do that. So I used a lot of oregano on my feet over my lung area, and you can look at any charts that deal with acupressure points or foot therapy things, and they will show you where to put it. But I put it on that, and then I would put the socks on every night, and that made a huge difference. I noticed immediately the first night I did it. And of course, remember, my brain was foggy, and so I wasn't remembering all the things I needed to do for myself, but I was doing the best I could with all the memories that I had. So another one that I chose, and it's really interesting, is rose. And I chose rose because it's really, really strong, and it has a lot of the same strength binders as frankincense and the way it responds to the body. And so I wanted to use that, and I used it on my body. Basically, my entire body hurt. And so sometimes just for relief, I would put it like on my hands or just at some place on my body that I felt like was especially in pain and dealing with some issues like that. So there you go with those two. I still use oregano every single night. I put it on every night. and I still have rose by my bed. So those are two that I'm doing right now. One of the ones that we both are doing is turmeric, and we're using it in the capsules because it has all the other things that are said by the experts to be needed to make it so it functions correctly in the system. And we felt like that was really important for both of us. So I use one, Mark uses 2 of these a day. It's my heart actually goes, I need only one. I'll just put it that way. And so we'll just go with that. And it's great. Now Mark's going to talk about some of the things that he did. I'm going to stop talking for a while.
Okay, so I was like Cynthia said, really sick for a couple of weeks, and then 3rd week I started turning the corner. I started feeling quite a bit better. I got some energy back. Was able to start working at home again. Got my mental clarity coming back pretty quickly. So I thought, yes, I'm out of the woods. Here we go. I'm ready to jump back into life. And just about that time, I woke up one morning and my the palms of my hands and along my meridians here were just itching like crazy. Just it was like a deep, almost painful itch. I thought, that's very strange. Somebody told me once that if your palms itch, that means you're going to come into a lot of money. So
I like that one.
Oh yeah, that's good. go. But just this itch, and it was very strange. And then I got a big patch on my back, and it looked like we
didn't know what it was. So it just was bad, and it was a rash.
It was a rash.
Went to a doctor.
And we found out that about 10% of people who get COVID also deal with this phantom rash that shows up afterward. And there's no explanation for it, no rhyme or reason. And so I'm actually still dealing with it. It was really bad for the first week, and I would have a patch break out on my back, and then I'd have a patch break out behind my leg. And I mean, it was just all over my body, and very deep, itchy, painful. And so we started a regimen for me for that. Very low inflammation kind of a diet, very low inflammation, inflammation support kinds of things. And the things that I found to be
no cheese, nothing that's no sugar,
low on
zero
fruit,
sugar,
and just very
careful fruit, but just
a lot of protein and vegetables. So one of the things that I found to be most helpful was we created a mix.
We stuck it in here
based on yarrow palm, including helichrysum and melissa. And frankincense. And that was incredible. I would put that on 3 or 4 or 5 times a day wherever I was having the breakout, and that gave me more relief than just about anything. So that was fantastic.
That gave me more relief
than anything. The other thing was that the idea is that these breakouts are probably neurologically connected. So I use neroli as well. Like I would kind of switch off between the yarrow palm mixture and the neroli, and that helped a lot as well. And my favorite thing is I take for the last couple of weeks I've been taking a daily bath. It's my soaking bath, and I put a little baking powder in the water, and then I put in my Roman chamomile. That's the one. Roman chamomile, and that it has been fantastic.
Just helps release the toxins and also just calm your body down. So other things that are things that Mark's been doing is PB Assist. I have been too. Keep your body, get your body's flora going well again. And the other one that he's been doing is endocrine for liver and also other areas that really need to detox. And he seemed to be having this big detox going on all over his body. And so those are the ones that he's been doing besides the other things. Now, it sounds like a lot, right? But when you think about all the things that you would need to take, it is a lot actually, but it's worth it because it really has helped us and helped us get out of our our places that we've been. Now, we weren't doing all those things every day. We were doing those things mostly as needed. And just a couple of things that we were doing, every day. Mark used a lot of the breathe drops. I used the On Guard drops, just something to keep my throat so that it wasn't quite so irritated. So, we have a lot of these things that we're dealing with on a consistent basis. So that's it. That's the whole of it. That's all we did. So I'm going to show you all of I don't know what we would have done without doTERRA. I just have no idea. Because if you look at this, I'm going to show you just the bottom of all the bottles that we use. Look at that. Look at that. I just don't even know how people cope. They just sit there and not find a way to deal with the stresses that we're dealing with. And we feel so fortunate that we had all these wonderful options and ways that we could help our body convert, even chapstick, I mean, really, just even having that around with what we were dealing with, it was just amazing. So, and knowing the kinds of things you can do, like the Melissa is so good. It's one of the best things you can do to help the skin heal and be better.
So let me just add one other thing. You mentioned earlier that it looks like a lot and it seems like almost overwhelming, but I noticed that when we were putting together this regimen for my rash, Cynthia, we were going through the list. Well, do this and this and this and this and this, and it just sounded like, oh, way too much. But when I wrote it down and I put it into schedule, I do these at breakfast, I do these at lunch, I do these at dinner, and it really wasn't that much.
Yeah.
And now I keep that sheet around and I just check it off. Did I take this, this, and this? Did I do this, this? And it's simple.
It's not bad.
It's really pretty simple.
And I'll do the same thing. But for me, my list is just visually seeing them. So if they're sitting out, I'm like, oh, need to do that. And that really helps me at this point. So we hope you can stay well. We hope if you're ill that you'll get that you found something that could help you. Remember, Copaiba is fantastic also for, your lungs and helping that, as well as mental issues. Just remember that. And it's great to help reduce some response swelling and different things that we had. All these things have overlap. And so we're so grateful. And we hope that you'll do this. And now Mark's able to move into the LLB again. And we're working on just keeping our bodies stronger and stronger and stronger, and using whatever is available to help us. We do, vitamin D and vitamin C and just a lot of things to help us. So we're grateful to you.
Yes,
we'll catch you next week.
And if you're dealing with illness, we wish you the very best. We wish you a quick recovery.
Yeah.
And if there's someone you know and love that could benefit by some of what we talked about tonight, wish you the very best, and for them as well.
Get in touch. You know where to find us, and let us know what your questions are. And we're glad to talk to you individually too. Take care. We're going to move on to Zoom now. Bye-bye. Hello, people.
Hello.
Glad you're here tonight. I'm going to put on my glasses so I can see your names. Okay. Got it. So was that helpful?
Yeah, I really liked to hear all your regimen, your routine, and things that you found beneficial, and the like cardamom. I had no idea that was great for breathing issues. So that's a really good, helpful tip to have. Yeah, and to know like the oils to put in your bath and stuff like that, because sometimes that's even good to just have when you want to de-stress,
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still doing magnesium bath every other day. I was doing a long one. We're not talking we're talking like a therapeutic bath is what we were doing. And so I would do that, and I'd think, okay, what do I need to put in this one to help me out today, right? So, and it was hard to think. So I had to have them right there. So I grabbed the cardamom and I'm like, what do I have sitting here? Okay, I'll put it in.
But it's, it's interesting. I'm not a bath guy. I really never have really liked baths that much. I'm a shower guy, but I honestly look forward to this bath every day now because I
Such a relaxed.
I have the Roman chamomile, and it's fantastic.
You've become a bath guy, huh?
I've become a bath guy. I feel so good when I get out. It's great. I actually look forward to it. It's
great. It's great. And things that I've never really used much before, like I've never really used the digest tabs. And I found I couldn't even, I had to have it in order to eat. I absolutely had to have it in order to eat. So very interesting that I wouldn't have, things that I just kind of stretched out a little bit in a direction. And we'd muscle test. We'd muscle tested everything to make sure that what we have would work. And shout out to Stacy. I know she's on mute and you can't see her right now, but shout out to her because I talked with a number of experts, and she being one of them, about things to do to keep yourself out of COVID's grasp. And I had them in my mind, and I had been doing a number of them. So I was really grateful for that. But there were things that I hadn't been doing. But the funny, interesting thing was they were the very same things that were suggested by my two chiropractic people in my family. The very, very same things, Stacy. So they're like, and then they would call me every day. And that's how I stayed on all my regimen. Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? And they would take my readings over the phone. I mean, poor people, literally, it was like I was in the hospital, but I wasn't because I had them.
They were making rounds every 4 hours or 3 hours.
Yeah. And I have my brother who is an internal disease specialist. He was involved in some of the conversations, and he was just making sure that, I didn't get into what would be considered a life-threatening situation, because I had gone to the hospital. He's like, okay, do this, do this, do this. And then we got our other doctors involved. I mean, we had just like layers of people involved with us that were helping. And thank goodness Mark was actually more capable than I was. And then we had Jacob that was helping us. So it was like a huge group of people to deal with two people, right? It was amazing.
Well, Stacy, you just you recovered as well. What
my goodness,
what
yes.
worked for you?
Yeah, we want to hear about yours.
Yes, I apologize. I'm on the treadmill. So if I'm heavy breathing or my head's bouncing around the screen, you'll know why. But so as far as essential oils go, we did the diffuser, we did On Guard and Abode. We tried that, hoping that would kill germs in the air. I mean, not together, but separately. And then we also did Breathe.
Okay.
And I had multiple diffusers around in the area where we were. So that was good. I used frankincense on my lungs, actually, topically, just where it felt congested, where it felt blocked, especially in the bases, the lower lobes, but even up on top and stuff. And I feel like that helped to kind of decrease some inflammation too, as well as, when I was doing the On Guard and Breathe little lozenges that I would, suck on those from time to time. And then I had a lot of supplements that I was doing based on some of these other protocols that people had talked about, which I feel were really helpful as well. So
very beneficial.
Yeah. So a lot of the same ones that you did. I didn't have any of the GI upset, so I never really needed the Digestin. Didn't have to use that. John had the GI stuff going on. But yeah, I didn't. It's interesting how I had more respiratory symptoms and he had more GI.
Yeah.
So kind of had different ends of it, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but it
when,
was good.
Well, it's good to see you on the treadmill.
I'm super slow.
but
My
that
lungs
would
are still congested, so I'm still treating that, you know, working on that to try to open that up and drain the congestion. So
Yeah, me
it's an
too.
ongoing process.
Mhm. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I
Yeah.
do that bath every other day.
Yeah,
That opened up and keep it open too.
yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I know you
Yeah.
probably did some things with herbs and some other things that you also work with.
Sweet, spicy.